I think the gentleman who has spent time at the border, as I have, would appreciate the story that I can recount that when I was, I think, last there was a conversation involving a young man who had come across, and he was being questioned, like you just described, and through the questioning about where he came from and all the things you go through, as age and so forth. And then at one point, the young man said he needed to use the bathroom. And the Border Patrol agent said, "Oh, sure, that's no problem." He said, "Let me get up and show you where it is." He says, "Oh, I know." He knew. He knew where the bathroom was. It wasn't his first rodeo. This is happening every day at our border. Literally every day. But the media just goes about its business, ignoring the crisis now that it's not politically expedient to do so. My colleagues on the other side of the aisle who spent 2 years, the last 3 years, saying this is all manufactured crisis, right? There is no crisis at the border. Then trumpeting the crisis suddenly, right? There was no crisis. Then there was a crisis. Then there was people drinking out of toilets, a lie. Then there was about kids in cages, a lie. The fences and the barriers put up in facilities to protect these kids and separate them from the dangerous elements to make sure someone claiming that they're this kid's uncle is actually the kid's uncle. Those chain link barriers put up in these big facilities were put up by whom, my friend from Texas?
That would be the Obama administration, although now we have some being put up by the Biden administration.
And that is exactly correct. And yet, for 4 years under the Trump administration, my colleagues on the other side of the aisle went around ranting about the treatment of migrants that we're dealing with because of very broken policies, trying to protect the kids, keep them from being abused, put them in air-conditioned facilities so there's airflow, the chain link barriers so you can see them. Oh no, kids in cages. Oh, drinking out of a toilet. It was a lie. It was straight up a lie. I sent my chief of staff down the next day, went and looked at what they were talking about, and it was one of those devices that is a toilet with then a water fountain off the back of it, which we have in all of our facilities and a lot of our prisons, facilities, ICE facilities and stuff in this country. By the way, every bathroom in America, the water supply behind your drywall is supplying the water to your faucet and the water to your toilet. Oh, but this is kids drinking out of toilets. Never let a crisis go to waste, my colleagues on the other side of the aisle. We're seeing that right now with $1.9 trillion. We're seeing that right now. And we're seeing the result of that right now with the Biden border crisis directly of the making of this administration. The direct consequence of undoing and refusing to enforce the laws, undoing the Migrant Protection Protocol, working with Mexico, refusing to fully enforce Title 42, refusing to go through what you're supposed to do on asylum determinations, refusing to limit catch and release, and instead turning the Department of Homeland Security into a catch and release organization, trumpeting an amnesty bill, and then attracting families to come through dangerous channels, risking their own children and lives at the hands of cartels, all to profit, enrich cartels, and then have the audacity to say that is compassionate. The audacity to say that that is pro-immigrant. Meanwhile, the people I represent, the Texans we represent, we're having to foot the bill. We're having to deal with it. We're having to deal with schools. We're having to deal with high-speed chases. We're having to deal with crime, drug trafficking, the reach of cartels into South Texas. And no one in this people's house gives a whit because of political expediency. I'd ask the Speaker how much time I have remaining.
The gentleman from Texas has 2 minutes remaining.
So, gentlemen, does my friend from Texas have anything else he would like to add?
Reinforce, when these people get into the United States, their nightmare is not over. They get shipped to towns all over America, and those that have and are wearing colored armbands now tell the drug cartel what their situation is. When they get where they're going, they're still under the thumb of the drug cartels to either sell drugs or sex trafficking. And if they don't pay up what they owe, then a family member gets killed or some part cut off. We know how bad the drug cartels are. So it didn't just end there when they got to America. That nightmare will continue, and this administration is all part of that.
Well, I thank the gentleman. I'll close my last minute. And I would just say that it is currently easier for the cartels to exploit our southern border and to allow gang members and dangerous narcotics to come into this country than it is for the American people to get access to the people's house. Fences with razor wire surround this building. We are apparently so afraid of what might happen to us in this body that we need fence with razor wire, but meanwhile our southern border is wide open for exploitation. And I would only just remind, as I started, that guy who runs that outfit over there in the White House, that guy either is blatantly ignoring his duty to defend the border of the United States purposely, or he has no idea what's going on, because no American president should or would allow this kind of activity to be happening at our southern border, endangering American citizens, endangering immigrants in the name of the United States.